Story number 1. The Footsteps. Ghosts are definitely not real. Those were my words before we started our trip up the mountains of Buckley City. A group of delegates from our grade school department were going to a leadership seminar in one of the most haunted places in the Philippines, Teachers Camp. Plenty of ghost stories come from that dreaded place that we were about to stay for 6 days. It was known for its old age, and the rumors that it was built on top of a war-related area. People see ghosts of war veterans and enemy soldiers. I thought I could never experience something like that, but I was wrong. First day of the trip was fun, as I remember. We went biking around the park and hung out in the hotel room of one of the delegates' parents. I didn't even think about the place that we were really supposed to stay. Until, of course, I saw our hall in Teachers Camp. The camp was enormous. Plenty of halls we could have stayed in. But of all the halls we were assigned to Whitehall, the oldest and the one in the worst condition. The floor would creak with every step, and because of an opening between the ceiling and the wall, you could hear anything from chattering teachers to the bags of others dragged on the floor. Our toilets didn't even work well, so every day I dreaded coming back to that hall at night. The long-awaited first night in our room finally came, and as usual, I didn't sleep well. I always have difficulty sleeping, whether at home or a creepy camp. Room 109 was our assigned quarters. 4 other girls stayed in our room with me, and they were comfortable with the place. Just a bit disgusted at the counterproductive toilet. Anyway, as I was saying, I didn't sleep well at all. I was awake until the hours of 11, desperately trying to sleep. Of course, I left the lights on, fearing that something might go bump that night. Finally, I fell asleep for around 4 hours and woke up again at 3 a.m. Screw sleep, I thought. Luckily, I had brought an interesting book from my sister. I read undisturbed, yet still a bit paranoid, for a few minutes, until I heard something. Footsteps. Faint, yet coming closer. I stopped reading, and I waited if they'd actually get louder. And they did. Before anything got any louder, I actually peeked outside of my room, finding nothing. But the footsteps kept on coming. Stronger and closer as it headed down from the stairs across the room. I went back to my bed, and I just stayed there, sitting upright, my ears eagerly taking in the footsteps. I was nervous. I tried to calm myself, saying that there were late guests coming in. But then, the footsteps reached the entrance of our room, so roughly that I felt the bed move whenever it sounded. I was freaked out, and I hid my head under the blanket. Hurriedly, I recited my prayers, while my friends slept soundly. I feared that I would see something that I'd remember for the rest of my life. The footsteps felt as if they were coming towards my bed. And then, it stopped. I gathered enough courage to look up from my blanket. I saw a white, shady figure with a somewhat bloodied face. It was only for a few seconds until I finally got the urge to hide myself from it. I hid under that blanket again. The footsteps ensued, but this time grew fainter and fainter until it was gone, like the figure. I was so scared, I could barely get any sleep. For the coming days, in room 109, nothing else happened. I told my friends about this ghostly experience, and they laughed about it. I know what I saw. Whether it was a ghost or just my mind playing paranoid tricks on me. I still go to teachers' camp, and I still hear stories about the hauntings, even ones similar to mine. But hearing or reading ghost stories can never amount to the thrill of experiencing one yourself. Story number 2. Our small haunted house. When I was just 4 years old, our family decided to build a small house on our province where we could live while having vacation. The house was built in the year 1995. After it was built, our family experienced ghostly entities in our house. Even our cousins who stayed over and looked after our house when we were not on vacation, experienced these ghostly happenings. Here are some stories that I would like to share. When our family stayed for a vacation there, my oldest sister woke up in the middle of the night. She heard footsteps roaming around our living room. No light was on that time. Then, another sister of mine also saw a girl wearing a white dress peeping into the bedroom in the middle of the night. When we returned to the city, our cousins stayed there while we were gone. Their experiences were worse than ours. One of my cousins slept on the bench. Somebody sat near her feet and suddenly shook the bench violently. While this was happening, my cousin's sister was also experiencing another ghost entity. She was sleeping in a double-deck bed and heard a box fall on her side. Because she was curious of what fell from the upper part of the bed, she checked it and found nothing. She then knew that it was a ghost. The haunting stopped when our parents called a priest to bless it. Our province was a place where Japanese and Filipino guerrillas fought during World War II. Our barrio is one of the places where many Japanese soldiers were buried after the war. Story number 3. The Bridge. This happened when I was just 3 years old. It happened when one of my mum's relatives died and needed to be bereaved the next day. We left Manila that night and started our trip. We made a left turn, going to Bayambang. According to my mum, we entered the street with a gas station in the corner. We continued to travel that two-way road. Along the way, we passed 7 bridges and a kilometre of billet trees covering almost the whole sky. After a few minutes, we stopped on a bridge. We didn't notice that the jeep we were riding was just a few meters from a very high fall. My dad saw a boat with people holding a gas lamp. He called them and asked for directions, when suddenly, the light vanished into thin air, and so did the boat. My mum decided to get help down the road. Along the way, they passed a group of frogs. She said it could be more than hundreds of frogs. After a few minutes of walking along rice fields, they noticed that they were being followed by a red Volkswagen. They noticed that the drivers were all wearing grey suits, but they had no faces at all. They didn't mind the car. After a few seconds, it vanished behind them. It is impossible for the car to just vanish because they were walking along rice fields. That got them scared, so they tried walking a little bit faster this time. After a few minutes, they noticed that they are being followed by another vehicle. To their surprise, a 10-wheeler truck was travelling with them in a very narrow road. Again, people wearing grey suits were driving the truck, just like what happened with the Volkswagen. The truck vanished after a few seconds. They started to panic. They reached the end of the road and saw a house. They knocked and asked the gatekeeper if they can spend the night in their house. The gatekeeper said that the house was already full. When they peeped in the house, the people lying on the floor were just like the drivers of the car and the truck, wearing grey suits with no faces. They hurried back to the jeep so that we could get out of that creepy place. We travelled the same road, where we passed the bridges and the trees. Everyone was surprised. We stopped on a cliff-like road. The bridges were no longer there. 5 of the bridges were gone, and we passed a very steep road, as if the bridge had been removed. We passed the belette trees, almost lying on the ground. The last 2 trees were even blocking the road. So, my dad's friends cleared the way. We got out of that creepy place after a few hours, and we reached that gas station again. We filled the jeep with gas. My dad asked the gas boy about the bridge. The boy said that the bridge was out. He pointed a very big signboard saying that the bridge had been washed out. A very big sign that only a blind person could not see. None of us in that jeep had seen a sign anything like that. We continued our travels to Pangasinan. No matter how far we tried to move away from the gas station, in spite of the lefts and right turns that we did, we always passed by that same gas station with the washed out billboard. This time, we knew that we were being played by Encanto, evil spirits / elementals. We decided to take a rest in the house of one of my dad's friends. We stayed there for the night. My dad asked the caretaker of the house about the bridge. Same thing. The caretaker said that the bridge was washed out from the first bridge that we have passed. The next part is what I can only remember because most of the time I was just sleeping. Around 3 a.m, my relatives were awakened by a familiar sound. An ice cream bell. Though we did not see the vendor and the ice cream cart. We were hearing the bell and the vendor cart moving outside the house. Imagine an ice cream vendor during the early hours. My dad decided to go home in the morning. On our way, we stopped by a fruit stand. We asked the owner where they got the sweet fruits from. The owner said that they were from the other province. My dad asked how it was delivered there. The owner said that they passed the bridge to our surprise. We left the stand after eating. On our way to Manila, while travelling on the North Luzon Expressway, my mum was still seeing that red Volkswagen, still following us, and just vanishing after reaching Balintuak exit. Story number 4. Come out, come out. Many years ago, we were visiting my family in Barangan City, Eastern Samar. My tita owned a large double-story house there, right on the edge of town. The house was nice but older, and my tita had been slowly renovating over many months. This time we are visiting, it is September, which is a very rainy time of year in the Philippines. It is raining hard that day, and we cannot go outside to play. We decided to play inside the house. There are many places to hide in there, especially because the renovations is happening. So, what better than a game of hide and seek on this rainy day? We all decided that the youngest of us, my cousin Zoe, would be the seeker. She stood in a corner in the sala and began counting, while the rest of us ran and hid. I hid in a small closet in the hallway upstairs. The doors closed, just enough that I could still just peek out and see the hallway and stairway. Minutes passed, and finally, we all heard Zoe call out, "Anda na kayo, ayan na ako," loosely meaning, "Ready or not, here I come." Many more minutes passed by, and we could hear little Zoe running around the house looking for us. Eventually, she realized that she could not find where we had been hiding, so she began to call out, "Labas na, labas na," meaning, "Come out, come out." Then, from further down the hallway, nearby the edge of the stairway, I heard a voice calling back, "Malapit ka na." This is to mean, "You're getting closer." I thought it was nice that the other girls were trying to help Zoe a little, giving her a hint as to where they might be hiding. From my closet hiding spot, I watched as Zoe shuffled past, walking towards where that voice had come from. "Malapit ka na," came the voice again, slower and softer this time. I could hear Zoe's footsteps tapping slowly towards the edge of that stairway. And as she got closer, I just couldn't get rid of this feeling that I didn't like what was happening. "Konti pa, malapit ka na," I heard the soft voice coming again, and I realized then that that voice wasn't any of us kids. I jumped out of that closet and I ran fast towards Zoe, just in time to grab her as she was almost dangling over the edge of the renovated stairway. Zoe began crying and hugged me very tight, telling me that she saw the face of a white lady down below and she couldn't stop. We turned around and ran, just in time to see the rest of the kids coming out from their hiding spots. They said that they heard the noises and they felt like something wasn't right. Even it was still raining, we still ran from that house and we went to our Lolo's house down the street. Zoe could never be calmed down, and I really don't blame her, of course. My Lolo asked her what happened and she told him she saw someone evil. He confided in us that there is a dark tragedy in that house's past. Because we are just kids, he said the family never told us about the things that have been experienced there because they didn't want to scare us. He said it's possible that all the renovations had made the spirits restless. I had gone back to that house sometimes in the years since then, but I've never seen anything like that again. I did get the feeling sometimes that things didn't feel right in there, like something is still lingering. But maybe that's just my memories of that day. I can never stop thinking of poor little Zoe hanging over that edge. My mind won't ever stop replaying it, thinking, what would have happened if I didn't run to her that day? Story number 5, Manananggal. To the rest of the world, this may sound more like fiction, but to Filipinos in any part of the world, this is a common story. One that is a known fact, and one that is treated with both reverence and fear. This story happened to my mum when she went on a vacation in Cotabato City with relatives as a child. It was a quiet, moonlit night, and to anybody who's used to life in the big city, a peaceful night like this one is indeed a sight to behold. The moon seemed especially bright tonight, without the blinding lights of the city. I couldn't keep my eyes off the moon. I feel like I was staring at it for the first time. I don't know how long I was admiring its beauty when suddenly I saw a dark speck that was slowly becoming larger and larger. I went closer to the window to get a better look. What I saw was something I will never forget all my life. It was an old woman, and she was flying with huge bat wings. She only had the upper half of her body, and she had flaming red eyes and mouth, long, crooked hands, and pointed fingernails. Her skin was dark as the night itself. It was the most horrifying thing that I've ever seen. She was coming towards the window, and fast. I could only think of my younger brothers, how she would definitely devour us if she got to us. I mustered what remaining courage I had, and I locked the thick glass windows and curtains. I heard her shriek as she segued around our house. I stayed still, trying my best not to make a sound, and listened to the deafening sound of her huge wings. It felt like forever. Then, all of a sudden, she was gone. I didn't close my eyes until I saw the sun shining. It was then that I realized that no matter how advanced society had become, there are still places and entities that you should never mess with.